everyone, Melissa here. I honestly had a lot of trouble this week trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my nails. I usually find some kind of inspiration, and this one didn't come to me until I did my unboxing of my Dipped in Sparkles colors yesterday. I had been testing out different design ideas and nothing was really just screaming at me that I loved it. And then I swatched these two colors and I suddenly felt like they needed to exist together in some way on my nails. So we're gonna do some color blocking. This is Cider and Speckled Allium from Dipped in Sparkles. I love them. And I for some reason, I'm obsessed with the way they go together. So we're gonna do a little color block that I like to call the Fantasia color block. If any of you follow Fantasia Rosa on Instagram, you'll probably know what I'm talking about. She has a very signature color block that she's done a lot. So we are going to start, just gonna dive right in. So when we start, when I do color blocking, I always do a layer of base on my nail. This serves two purposes. First, it makes it so the second layer of base doesn't dry too quickly, but it also makes the tape stick better for the color blocking. So I always start with just a layer of base and then I let it dry. Just give that a minute to dry. All right, once that's dry, we're going to block out the design with the tape. This design is going to have a diagonal line of the speckled allium coming this way on this nail and this way on this nail. And then cider, top bottom, yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and tape out and just leave the center diagonal line exposed. Okay. Now the fun part of this is trying to make the angles somewhat equal on both nails, making the lines straight, and keeping them kind of parallel to make sure that that line down the center stays the same width roundabout the whole way. So now what I've done here is I've used these neat little cupcake liners that actually came in my Dipped in Sparkles order, and I've dumped some of the dip out into them. I'm gonna push this one to the side because I don't need it yet. I'm going to get my speckled allium. I'm just gonna kind of tap it and see how it brings those foils to the top. I am going to see how this looks. I may end up only doing one dip of the foil dip just because I want to top with clear so that I can file. I'm going to just put some base down on that line and then dip in. Okay, for the clear coat, I'm gonna float the liquid over because the foils in this definitely bleed a lot. If you drag the brush across the layer you just did, you will drag the black of the foil with it. So I'm going to get a nice amount of liquid, apply it and just kind of like dab as I go down. Give that a good float so it doesn't smear too much. Wipe off my brush. Can do the same thing here. Okay. Now you pull off the tape. You want to do it slowly, make sure the tape doesn't tear. Like that. That didn't work great, but it's okay. Didn't really peel off here either. Again, it's okay. I'm gonna take my cuticle tool and pull it away. Here. And then I'm going to use it to push in and just straighten out that edge. It got a little out of hand. And here. And same thing on this side. And just because that got a little messy, I'm going to activate these strips here and file the sides, the edges of them kind of smooth. To give that nice clean line. Don't always have to do this, but this got a little messy. Well, it's a good opportunity to show how to fix any mistakes you make. So for this guy, I am just going to this guy I'm just going to paint on in the area that doesn't have the line and then dip in. You could definitely tape over the center piece and do it that way. Make it easier on yourself. It's just easier for me because I don't feel like cutting the tape to size and all that. I do have these little stencils, this little like barcode stencil that has a nice line on it, and I could use that. Just tape down the center, but I'm gonna do this the hard way for myself, obviously. And then same thing on the other nail. All right, and now that's done, and yes, it looks a mess, but it won't. But it won't. Just gotta trust the process. And anybody that watched my last marble video that said it looked like it was a very time-consuming and, you know, basically just time-consuming process, to me this is more time-consuming than that was, honestly. That was easier. You could just go with the flow. Hard to mess up. This, yeah, you get some mess ups. You gotta clean it up. One way or another eventually. See, I got some overflow, but nothing a little filing isn't gonna fix. So now we're just activating, and then I'm going to file both of the nails smooth. Okay, so I think that's about filed out as much as I'd like it. A little bit more here. I do want to do nail tape on this to kind of make the color block pop a little bit more. I was thinking a gold nail tape, so let's see how that's gonna look. I think that'll be pretty cool, actually. So I'm gonna go ahead and just cut off 4 pieces of nail tape. I want to make sure that I don't get any powder on them. I don't want, if they get even the smallest bit of powder on them, they won't stick. So I'm brushing all the excess powder away. I'm going to just take my nippers, cut off this first little bit that's been hanging off because it's probably been contaminated with powder. I'm gonna make sure that you don't lose the end on these because it's really hard to find once you do. Watch, I'm about to. So I'm gonna cut off 4 pieces that I think will be about long enough to cover that spot. I'm gonna just stick the end of it on here so that I can reach it easily when I need it. If it'll stay, it's not gonna stay. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, after I continue to file, because I can't help myself, I keep going back in and doing more if I see a mistake. I'm going to do a layer of base, then I'm going to lay the nail tape on top of the base, and then I'm going to do another layer of base over the top and then activate it. And that holds the nail tape in place pretty well.
Take a step back to see the truth around you. From a distance you can tell. You and me were meant to be.
Nail tape is also really nice because you can use it to kind of fix if you have, say you do a center line like this and a part of it's a little bit wider than the other, you can use the nail tape to straighten that out a little bit more, which is great. Once you have that where you want it, you just put your other layer of base over the top, kind of encapsulates that in. Warning that brighter, darker nail tapes do bleed. They will bleed with base, so you may want to float the base like we did for the foil. I'm gonna go ahead and activate this one. There we can activate. Try not to put the activator directly on the tape. Even though there's a layer of base between, it can still cause it to bleed even more. And let's do the other nail while that dries. Okay, we're gonna let that dry. This one's dry, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut the edges. edges of the nail tape off. Okay, once you know that the nail is actually dry, you can even just file off the edges a little bit to make sure that the nail tape doesn't have any overhang. Makes it less likely that it will peel up at any point. All right, now I'm just going to activate and top coat the entire mani and finish her off. And there we go, there's my finished color block set. I am not sure exactly what it was that made me decide that these two colors had to go together. If anybody can think of what this reminds me of, or like why they just felt right, please let me know in the comments. But thank you for joining me. Now it's time to do my other hand, which is going to take some time. But thank you again for joining me. I appreciate each and every single one of you. And as I said in my last video, I'll be doing a giveaway, hopefully for 1,000 subscribers coming up very soon. I have it in planning right now. But don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.